Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you watched us live last night. So was there anything particularly with the health things that popped out on their live recording for you?
I've got a few things. Prolapse discs in my neck.
Yep.
And it's on the right side where I get the pain.
Yep.
I had knee surgery on my ACL 2 years ago.
Right. Yep. Remember that one?
It's the right side as well.
Yep.
I've also had, I'm not sure if you're sure of what a fistula is.
Oh, vaguely remember. I think I've had one of them too, long time ago.
6 times.
Yeah, what's that one again? Just clarify us on that.
I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's something to do with either your enlarged intestine.
Oh, yeah.
And weeps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I constantly get a thing of fluid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have that drained, and I've had that done 6 times.
Yep. So these all seem to be relating to the stomach spleen meridian in the Chinese medicine, because with the stomach and the spleen, that the spleen strengthens the blood, but what its primary job on an energetic level is, and by the way, I just want to put the disclaimer in first that none of this is medical advice, and always seek your doctor if you're going to change anything, because otherwise we'll get in trouble. This is the energetic, emotional side, so we'll just cover that first so that I can't get myself in trouble.
Thank you.
And the spleen, stomach, the negative emotion that drains the energy of the spleen and stomach, it's the earth element as well. It's worrying or overthinking. Mm-hmm. So, are you a big overthinker? I'm guessing. Yeah,
I'm a Scorpion.
Oh, and that as well. That will double it up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So overthinking and worrying, they call it ruminating sometimes in China. So some people like overthinking is different levels for different people. So for me, like my son thinks a real lot, one of my sons. So when he doesn't think, like when he's not thinking much, that would be like excessive thinking for me. So for each of us, it's quite different. So, and he can't stop thinking because he's just such a thinker, right? So instead of stopping thinking, you start getting active. Mm. So because if you try and stop yourself from thinking, you're thinking more because you're thinking how to stop thinking.
How do I stop thinking? How do I stop thinking?
You're thinking about stopping thinking. So even with the fissure or whatever it was in the stomach, because the spleen and stomach hold things up, right? So the prolapse discs, I've had a few of those myself. My son gets flat feet a lot. Like as I said, saggy skin can happen to that. But even like the stomach wall lining, which is obviously leaking or whatever, that's also going to be affected by the stomach spleen meridian, because that all the muscles and everything that holds everything in place is all affected by the stomach and spleen. So you're just thinking and worrying too much. That's the main problem. That's the main cause of it. But we'll try and dig into what you're thinking, because there'll be other related issues, because all the meridians and that, they're all interlinked. So overthinking, as I said, the only way to stop overthinking is start getting active. So do you have any activities, physical activities that you like to do?
I do.
You don't do them.
With my prolapse neck and recovering, I just had surgery 2 weeks ago with the fistula.
Yeah. Okay.
And just finding it hard to get active at the moment. Yeah, and even just standing and sitting for too long, I find my neck really plays up.
Yeah, well, that's going to add to it. So that's going to add to the problem, because standing and sitting just inactively is going to make it play out more, because when you're still, you tend to think more. So one of the ways I did it back like many years ago, about 10 years ago, I was probably worse than you are, and I would just walk. I'd get up each morning and force myself to just walk down. Luckily we weren't too far from the beach, and I just walked down to the cafe in the morning. It took me a few days to actually get that far, because it turned out to be about a 5K walk.
Hobbling down the road.
For the first couple of days, I just went to the corner.
I've got that fear with walking. I'm actually on work cover with the injury of my neck.
Yeah.
And had a pretty horrible experience with them.
Yeah.
And hearing from others that they video you when you're out there.
Yeah.
I fear it, like they've, really affected me emotionally.
Yeah, I know. One of my early injuries when I was in my 20s, I was on work cover as well, and that is a part of an effect. But if you're just walking, right, that's part of your recovery process. So if they ever video that, that'll actually look good for you, not bad, because you're trying to make yourself better. You just walk, as I said, just walk as much as you can, and also part of walking is, I don't know where you live, if there's any nature around, or if you're
the nature where I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've always related. I used to do a lot of meditation as well, and a lot of craft as well.
So the craft would be good.
Craft would be good.
Anxiety and depression, because I also had severe depression. I've had a few things happen in my life, like divorce.
Yeah.
So kids, living with their father, and then also their father passed away a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And I've had a bit of a breakdown with a relationship with my oldest son.
Yeah.
My youngest. But just a lot of stuff going on.
I understand. Look, I've got. Sorry.
Meanwhile, Jim a few years ago helped me with a lot of that, and meditation, craft. The youngest son always tells me to go back into the craft, because obviously he sit with those feelings and put that energy in my craft.
Yeah.
But
So we'll just
find it a bit.
Sorry, we'll just stop there for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just address some of those issues, because they're all tying into one another. All of these things are all I'm seeing the effect of how they're all interconnected, and it is a lot about thinking. I've got 6 children myself, and I'm going through a bit of an issue where a few of them aren't talking to me at the moment. But so I understand what you're going through, but then you think about that more, and you think about it more when you're sitting down. So this is why your younger son would have encouraged you to do the craft, because that concentration on doing something, even if it's just craft, even if it's just knitting, or I don't know if you knit or whatever you do, that focus and that concentration stops you from thinking about too much. So that's an activity that anything it doesn't. But the reason I mention walking is because it's good for the posture, and it also gets you looking into the distance. Is a very healthy thing. So when you're outside walking down, like as I said, I used to walk down to the beach, and as you're walking, you tend to look further, and that opens your mind and expands the energy out further. So those two things, I think, alone will make a massive difference for you. If you can get back into the craft, which is that concentrated activity. So I don't know what craft you do, but that sort of stops you from...
Even say tops of milk bottles, and I make something out of it, or even say the tops of the bread bags.
Even see, like when you talk about this now, you can see your face lighting up, right?
Yeah, you smile.
You can see the smile, and it's like that reminiscing.
Honestly, guys, it's the fear of work cover. And what they'll do to me.
But you're
don't have strength at the moment.
I understand that. And your liver depression. I'm guessing you had liver depression, which is what I had as well. And I had the same conditions. They were going to operate on my neck. I never got that done. My lower back, I couldn't get off the lounge. I was like in all sorts of stuff. But liver gallbladder is related to your long-term hopes and dreams, right? And so your long-term hopes and dreams on your family level has probably been a bit shattered, and as well as if you've got long-term hopes and dreams on personal stuff that you like to do, say your hobbies or something to do with business or work or whatever else.
Career as well with the work cover.
So careers, but our hobbies can often turn into our careers.
Yeah. And this is what's happened, like in the past, all the things that I've said that I've used, meditation, craft, it's led me to my career pathway.
Yeah.
And with these 2 injuries that I've had, knee and neck, through my career, it's crushed me in the sense of I love working with kids. I'm a teacher's aide. I work with autistic children. I love my job. I have a passion for my job.
Yeah.
But I don't have the support when it comes to my workplace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Work cover make it even harder.
Yeah, of course. So, as I said, I've been through it twice.
Yeah, I feel like I'm crushed at the moment emotionally.
So that crushed feeling, first of all, that's probably, and because you work with autistics, you're probably one of our videos we've got is, are they my feels? And so a lot of this stuff that you're feeling, a majority of it might be, the core of it might be yours, but the rest might be stuff you're picking up from all the people around you. We can pick up feelings and even pains in that in our body. We can get hungry because other people are hungry. So one of the videos that we share on the YouTube is called Are They My Feels? And so you feel that feeling of being crushed, right? Just try this one now as we're talking. So just imagine what that feeling is of being crushed. It's overwhelmed, crushed, whatever it is. And just feel it and focus on it and say, is that mine? Does it get stronger or does it get weaker?
It gets stronger.
In what areas? In the belly? Like, as you're feeling it, does it feel more on top of you? In your chest?
Yeah.
Okay. So just say, we have a saying, we go, so how did I create that and how do I get rid of it? And don't answer the question.
Don't answer the question. Just
don't think about the question. Just say, how do I create it and how do I get rid of it? And the energy comes through for the answer for that. Now, you might not be able to interpret it, so don't try and interpret the energy. You just ask that question. I created this by ignorance, by not being myself, by not listening to myself or whatever. You don't have to worry about how you created it. We always create everything in our lives, even if it's created accidentally by us, like ignoring our feelings or ignoring our intuition. That's how we can create stuff at times. So as you ask that question, the universe answers energetically and starts to bring the answer through, but you usually can't interpret it. And then you keep your eyes open for signs. How did I create this and how do I uncreate it, or how do I get rid of it? And so that feeling should lessen and lessen. So let me just check on something. John can have a chat with you. I just want to check on some entities and stuff.
Yeah. So with the...
hold on before I do. If you had any entities around you, any negative entities or whatever that were affecting you, would you like to get rid of them?
Yes, please.
Okay, I've got to get permission before I do it. That's all.
Cool.
So,
so with that tool is that my feels, it can take, up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times sometimes, but the goal there is to just to sort of sit in that feeling and feel that feeling, ask that question and say, is that mine? Is that my feel, as we say? And if it gets heavier, as you've just sort of felt with that, the heavier feeling is generally when we've created it. Okay. And as we say, we don't really know how we've created it. And it's not, the goal is not to try to understand how we created it. And then, if it gets light also, then it's someone else's. That was what John was saying before. So if it gets lighter, then what we basically just say is, go away, return to sender. So send it away. Because what we find,
that's what it is. I'm a people pleaser.
I
have really tried to show my worth through my workplace. And obviously, I'm not getting that back.
No, not in the conventional one. You won't. In the like schools and stuff, they won't acknowledge that.
Yeah, and I think it was because my previous boss, where I was employed at this service or at this school, she gave me that a lot. She actually gave me a career pathway and told me why I was worthy within this career. Whereas we've had a change of management and she's just crushed it.
Right.
Well, a lot of people, you just can't please. Some people, the only way you can please them is to beat yourself up, because that's all that'll please them. And it's just stupid, because they just feeling bad and they put everyone else down. They push them down to make themselves feel better. And there's nothing you can do to please people.
And even the use of the word crush there, I mean, she's you described that the opportunity at work was crushed. And earlier on, you found you feel as though
you're being crushed. So
So the words as well could be quite useful to maybe try to change some of those words. Where for example, you could say, to try to move away from that fixed point of view, you could say, it seems like the work opportunity is crushed, but I don't know. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe it won't. And also when the feeling's on you, you know, maybe try to change that. You know, it feels or it seems like I'm being crushed, but maybe I'm taking on other people's feelings.
Yeah.
Maybe I can send them away.
You said you worked with a lot of autistic kids, did you?
Teenage autistic children.
Yeah.
So they range from the ages of 12 to 18.
So what happens, usually what happens with them, I've had, one of my exes had an autistic kid, and that technique that we just told you before, there's another version of it. We say, who does that belong to? Because they pick up everybody's thoughts, feelings, and emotions excessively, right? And they don't have any space mentally, psychically. They're just bombarded by they can hear everyone's thoughts all at once. And so one of the tools then that works wonders for the autistic kids is you just say to them, who does that belong to? Don't answer the question. Don't think about who it belongs to. Who does that belong to? Just feel it. And then say return to sender, and you do a hand motion. Return to sender, return to sender. Who does that belong to? Return to sender. And I just kept repeating it with my ex's kid. And he, like when I first did it, within the first week, he changed within a week. He wouldn't even hold his mum's hand or go near her. After a week, he went and held a hand. And for the first time ever. And it's like, so, but that's the feeling that they have a lot. That crushed feeling is what the autistic kids have, because they're feeling crushed by all the other people's thoughts and emotions that are around them. So that particular tool works wonders for them. So if you can practice that on yourself, for every thought, feeling, and emotion that you have, say, who does that belong to? And if it gets less intense, it doesn't belong to you, and it could belong to 1,000 people. So don't worry about who it belongs to. Don't answer the question. Just go by the feeling. So if you're feeling crushed and you go, who does that belong to? And it feels a little bit less crushed, just go return to senders, because it's no good to hold on to it, and you can't be the example for the children then. And I'm feeling that's a lot of that is actually coming from those ones that you care about, you're trying to help. They feel crushed by excessive thoughts, by excessive emotions that they're picking up off everyone. They don't have any space around them. And it's crushing their psychic space. They've got no energy. They've got no space around them. So that particular technique will work wonders. There was one entity that I picked up. And I'm just going to check again. Is that all there is? Truth, is that all? No, there's one more.
Yeah,
so let me do one. I'll do one more.
I'll send you the link as well to that the video, which is at my field, so you can check that out on YouTube and just practice that. You know, and it kind of sounds a bit weird at first, you know, because you're kind of just talking to yourself. But as I said, the goal is really just to give it a go. You know, don't necessarily have to believe it or disbelieve it. But you know, I'd probably start with the crushed feeling. So when you feel crushed, just sit in it, say, okay, is that mine? Does that belong to me? You know, if it gets lighter, then you just go, okay, return to sender. You know, get out of my space. I don't want that. You know, and we also at times, if it gets a little bit more intensive, we'll just say, you know, send blessings and send prayers to wherever it came from. But that's not mine. You know, goodbye. And you just repeat that process 2 or 3 times, and you can just generally feel it starting to lift, and that crushed feeling will literally just start dropping away.
It might take many times to say it, but so yeah, I had another one there that I've just I'm pretty sure I cleared. So there was two entities that were around you that were sort of affecting your energy flow as well. And I think one of them came from that new boss.
That my life changed.
Yeah. So one of them's a joker trickster. That's why I didn't pick him up at first. So he was the one that can cause a little bit of mischief and that around you. So that should have cleared. And when we do finish the talk, I will do a little bit of a distant healing energy rebalance with you, if you like, just to sort of, because when you lift these entities away that have been attached or in your energy field, you can feel a bit weird for a day or two. So if after this reading and after tonight, if you feel like a little bit zoned out or spacious, don't try and fill that space up. It's helping to clear the space now around you. So don't, if you feel a bit like empty or void, just sit with that. That's your energy just trying to rebalance, your own energy trying to rebalance with you. So there was 2. We've cleared them for now, and hopefully they'll stay cleared. And then I'll just do a bit of an energy zip up on you, and I'll do a little bit more after we finish. But a lot of that stuff you've actually picked up off other people. But yeah.
And I've gained 14 kilos. I've gained within a year 14 kilos, and I've never had to worry about weight.
And like
I've gone from 64 kilos to 78 kilos.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So that'll come in with the like I had the neck one, I had the depression thing, all of that, and I've just lost like 15 kilos in the last 6 months, you know. So after clearing all that stuff. So so once I started working on my path and got my path back on track, and I sort of let the stuff with the kids go for now. I'm like, you know, that I'll work on me first. I'll get myself right, and then the kids will come back. They'll talk to me again. And as soon as I start getting happier within myself, as soon as I start working towards what I want to do, get rid of all the ideas of why you can or can't do it as well. That you'll probably work with kids again. You will work with kids again, but you might not work with it in the field that you're working with. There's so many new fields opening up, and so just don't count it out because you can't work in that field you're in before. So if it's your passion to work with those kids because you're parasympathetic, you pick up feelings, and you're good at blocking it out. But using this tool and learning that particular tool, are they my feels? That will really help too. And you just, for every thought, feeling, emotion you have, you go, is that mine, or who does that belong to? If it gets a little bit less intense, a little bit less on the thoughts or feelings, you just say return to sender. And I usually use a hand motion, like push it away, return to sender, especially when I'm working with the autistic kids.
I'll be doing that quite regularly.
Yeah. So, and then you say, okay. And then it's like, and really, 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 I can't express anymore. Do the craft. You know, if you're worried about the work cover, you're in your house, they're not going to video it on there. And they can't.
Even walking around the lounge room.
So you're like, but walking outside where you look further in the distance, if they video you doing that, that's you trying to recover. So that's only going to look good for you in that case, because you're actually trying to get yourself better. So even if they video that, you say, yeah, this is my recovery process. And so that's not going to go against you. So, and just try and walk. I started like when I did, I could only walk to the corner shops, which was about 2 blocks, right? And back. And then I ended up getting like 5Ks every morning. I started getting used to it. It took a few weeks to get, like I'd go a little bit further each time. And then I ended up walking all the way down and sat down and have a coffee at the cafe and waited half an hour because it was about 2.5 Ks each way. But at first I couldn't even walk a half a kilometre. And it's like, but each morning if I just got up and said, okay, just walk down there, have a coffee, just get out of the house for a minute, and then, you know, and just make that a routine. And then come back and try, even if it's just whatever it is, if it's any little craft thing, even if it's like focused around the house, washing your dishes and stuff, even if it's concentrated, just doing your basic things that you do every day, just do it in a different way where you're focusing on it, really concentrating on what you're doing. That'll stop a lot of the thinking, because it is, I can even see from some of the other stuff that there is a lot about overthinking and worrying. And you can't stop that by thinking more. And meditation won't work because meditation is making you think more. But there's what we call active or open eye meditation, which is doing your crafts and focusing and concentrating on it, concentrating on whatever you're doing, even anything that's going to make you focus and move, even if it's just drawing, whatever.
And, you know, if you do find yourself in one of those, what we call a negative spiral, like your thoughts are starting to spiral out of control, maybe, you know, a simple way is just telling yourself, I don't know, you know, I don't know what the outcome's going to be, rather than trying to second guess or dive around to try to figure it out. And if it's, you know, a certain kind of thing where, you know, you don't know and you don't necessarily care about the outcome, but for whatever reason you can't get rid of it, it's just like, well, I don't know, I don't care. You know, just, and even that shrugging motion is, I don't know, I don't care. Just, it helps just get that, take the pressure off, you know?
It's all the answers you have that are the problem. Like the work cover are trying to do this and other people. So you don't know if that's true. It's true. So this is how we reword it inside ourselves. I don't know if that's actually true. It looks like it's true, but it might not be. You know, they're not necessarily, work covers not usually, they're usually after the big fish, the ones that they know are trying to deliberately scam and everything else. You've had an operation. So the fact that you've had an operation and everything else, I think there's very little chance that work cover is going to video you, because it costs them a lot of money to do that. Right?
Even the thought that they could video you, you know, ask who does that belong to? You know, that very thought itself, you know, because there might be many people in and around that are, you know, similarly on work cover that might be pushing that around, that, oh, they might be watching me, you know. So when you start to, if you find yourself thinking that thought, just go, actually, who does that thought belong to? Is that even my thought?
There's been someone that has been on work cover and is on work cover.
Yeah.
Maybe that fear.
Yeah, but that guy's probably, or person's probably trying to, you know, their situation is probably very different than yours, right? And they're probably going for a really big claim because it costs work cover, it costs any of them they have to pay an investigator to do that. And then they're losing more money that they're trying to save. So, and you've already had an operation, you've already got the medical proof. So it's like, they're usually after the ones who are just going for depression or something like that. It's got no real medical proof. That's the ones they video. Mostly the ones going for a really excessive claim. It seems it's usually that way, but you know, you're not
still to return back to some sort of duty or work because I enjoy my work.
And tell yourself that every day, you know, I'm doing it more and more. I'm getting closer to come back to work more and more. I'm getting, you know, I'm working on this. I'm sending these feelings away that aren't mine. I'm feeling less and less crushed, you know. Just you got that inner kind of dialogue with yourself.
You got to do it. A little bit of that self-talk is like, I'm getting better at this. It's not as bad as it was last week. It's not as bad. So don't try and go to these people that say, you know, positive thoughts, positive affirmations, because if you do a positive affirmation, but you're feeling that it's not true, you actually push it further away.
Train wreck.
So I call it go to neutral affirmations. You know?
Talking to you guys, what I'm really picking up is I need to probably get out of the workplace that I'm in. Looking for a new workplace. And it's something I know within myself because there was a bit of bullying that happened while I was on work cover. And it was either colleagues and my like I'd walk into work and no one would talk to me. Teach me. But
so is your work in like the conventional schools or like the government-based?
It's a government-based school.
You're never people like us are never really going to get very far in a government-based thing because they run on negativity and they do not like intuition, right?
That's where my life's changed because I've never been around so much negativity. You know, like I'll walk in and even though I'm in pain, it's like, hi, how you going? And trying to do what I can with then
so maybe
that have, you know, left things even in my pigeonhole or not been acknowledged at work or other colleagues talking about me. And, you know, there has been a little bit of, I don't like to say it, but a bit of karma where some of these colleagues, they're now on work cover because of injuries that they've had.
You get it like I was 23 when I had the motorbike accident. I had vertebrae and everything, but the amount of people that used to think that I was faking it, I'm like, I've smashed my body and it's like, and I still used to get people going, oh, you're just faking it. But it was that's all just jealousy based. So you can't do nothing about that. You just go, not my problem, leave it alone. And and just start working on, okay, so how can I do this? So I ask the question without answering the question, how can I do this work in a place where it's going to be more we call it win-win, where the people are going to appreciate me and I'm going to appreciate them, or do I need to just cut it where it is and then just get back to me a little bit and then find a new place? So don't necessarily jump to the answers, just feel it out.
Don't go to a straight like opposite definite. You know, I definitely have to leave this job. Just start asking that in wonder question. Okay, you know, maybe there is somewhere else that I could do what I love doing that's win-win. You know, maybe it will involve leaving. Maybe it won't. Maybe when you start asking these questions, that boss will leave. You know, like
it does
these things happen, right?
It does. It magically happens. But don't go. Be careful of all the definite words. You know, always, everyone, words like that. That's what puts the subconscious mind and puts these programs and makes them locked in. So we can't see beyond that. You know, everyone down the road is greedy, right? As a random. It's like, and so somebody's generous and you don't see it because even though you'll see it with your eyes, but you can't acknowledge it because you've got a program in there saying everybody's greedy. So it's like, so just as John was saying, start saying, maybe it's like that. I don't know. Maybe I've just been
I'm actually shutting off in giving to where I was a very giving person and very social person. Now I'm like isolating myself even from my really good friends.
Yeah, because you're the one that needs the attention at the moment. You're the one that needs, your body needs the bit of space, a bit of caring, a bit of giving to it. So it's a natural tendency to do that. And like I had to cut off 90% of my friends and that when I sort of really got back on track, and it was really difficult because I was such a caring person as well. So that was, but I did it for a short period, and then all of a sudden, the better people started showing. The more, yeah. So just give those a try. We're coming to the end of the time now, so give those techniques a try. And if you can, after you've tried them, seeing if they work, you might feel a little bit lighter straight away because of the entities and that are cleared. And just comment on the video and try them out for a few days. If it starts to feel better and you're not sure on the technique of how to say it properly, just message back on the bottom of the video, because we'll share the link with you, and just ask the question, how do I say this one properly? How do I say that? And we'll comment back and share with you how to refine the questioning and the answering.
Thank you, and thanks again for this opportunity.
No problem.
Really, because I was feeling a bit, I need something.
Yeah. So, and it is hard.
I'm a very spiritual person normally.
Yeah. It's hard when you're a giver to ask and receive. It's very difficult when you're such a big giver. It's hard to receive.
Yeah. No, thank you, guys.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Patricia.
Lovely.
Catch up.
See ya.